Hi all. Today we will see divisions of philosophy. The third division, epistemology. So what is the meaning of epistemology or what epistemology deals with? We already seen that epistemology is the uh, branch of philosophy, division of philosophy, deals with theory of knowledge or study of knowledge, especially with regard to its methods, validity and scope, and the distinction between justified belief and opinion. So, a comprehensive study of knowledge. What are the types of knowledge and what shall be the methods for acquiring knowledge, the nature of knowledge, etc. The distinction between justified belief and opinion, that kind of which regarding the credibility of knowledge, that also which knowledge is significant, which knowledge is the priority to which type of knowledge, the nature of knowledge, which knowledge is so crucial or so significant. So such a comprehensive analysis of what knowledge is done by epistemology. So it's a theory of knowledge or study of knowledge, one of the major divisions of philosophy. So according to philosophical epistemology, the major types of knowledge or knowledge can be classified as revealed knowledge, intuitive knowledge, rational knowledge, empirical knowledge, and authoritative knowledge. So it's a philosophical classification. You can see types, different classifications of knowledge in different types of other classifications. But for this discussion, today's discussion, the types of knowledge based on philosophical classification, and the 5 types of knowledge mentioned here are hierarchically arranged. So there is a hierarchy for this knowledge. You can see the first one mentioned here is revealed knowledge, then intuitive knowledge, rational knowledge, empirical knowledge, and authoritative knowledge. So the highest of all is revealed knowledge, then intuitive knowledge, then rational knowledge, then empirical knowledge, and finally authoritative knowledge. Let us see each of these type of knowledge in detail. Revealed knowledge, the type of knowledge acquired by or attained by revelation. Revelation is a specific state of mind, which can be, say for example, in the case of Sri Buddha, we had he got enlightenment. It's a kind of revelation, divine or supernatural. It is not, that state of revelation is not common or not easily or not accessible for people normally, and it's a specific condition, and hence it is considered as divine or supernatural disclosure to human of something relating to human existence. So it's such a condition. So such great prophets in the history, Those who have experienced this type of knowledge, that revealed knowledge for entire humanity, for entire human beings. So that's considered as the highest type of knowledge, revealed knowledge. It's a kind of supreme kind of knowledge that cannot be attained through philosophical or merely human powers of reason and inquiry, but through God's revelation in Scripture. So that I already mentioned that it is not easily attainable for common people, because an utmost concentration, because the familiar methods and familiar tools are incapable of attaining revealed knowledge. So that's its specificity. The common philosophical methods and other methods and common power, sensory capacities are not adequate to attain revealed knowledge. Hence, it is considered as the highest type of or supreme type of supernatural knowledge. Then the second type, intuitive knowledge, ability to understand something instinctively without the need for conscious reasoning. So intuition, you might be more familiar with the term intuition, and it's also is an ability some people will be having the more power of intuition than others, and it's an instinct. There is no base for reasoning and all in intuition. It's a strong feeling, not on the base of by observing or inference, but it comes all on a sudden, a very strong psychic feeling to do something or to uh, keep away from something. And it is usually based on subjective judgment. It is very personal experience, as in the case of revelation. This intuition also is subjective, purely dependent on individual, and it's an experience for the individual, not for a group. It's specific to specific persons at specific time. So that's the peculiarity of intuition, and it is reported by people that such intuitions are most of the time are life saving. So that's the importance of intuition. So naturally, we also have some occasions in our life where we can experience that our intuition is in operation, and we should follow that intuition as well. That's the common advice usually more learned persons are giving. Then the third category, rational knowledge. So reason as the chief source and test of knowledge. So that's the peculiarity of this kind of knowledge, that rational, that reasoning. So on the contrary to the first two types of knowledge, such as the revealed knowledge and intuitive knowledge, the rational knowledge shall be more easily attainable for all of us. Reason to be a faculty that can lay hold of truths beyond the reach of sense perception, both in certainty and generality. So reasoning also sometimes, not always based on cause and effect, not always belong to experimentation and its inference. There are something beyond we can't uh, directly perceive, subject to our sense organs or sensory experiences. That also shall be considered as reasoning sometimes. So that third category of knowledge, rational knowledge, knowledge generated by or arrived at the process by following the process of reasoning and rational knowledge. Then the fourth one, empirical knowledge. So it is purely on the basis of sense experiences. Only those things are experienced through our sense organs, our five senses. So these are the five senses. So this empirical knowledge, we can conduct experiments, we can observe its outcome, we shall make inferences, all these on the basis of our sensory experiences. So that experimentation. So sensory experience as knowledge or sensory experience as source of knowledge. That's the importance of empirical knowledge. This last two types, empirical and authoritative knowledge, are considered as the minimum level or low type of knowledge because there is not much capacity, individual capacity, individual power is not required for these two, because anybody can conduct experiment, anybody can observe things, anybody can make inference, and many people can do, or people as a group, students, learners as a group can conduct experiments. It is not learner or individual specific as in the case of intuitive and revealed knowledge. And the fifth category, fifth type of knowledge, the authoritative knowledge, the authority. So who is an authority? The authority shall be people, or books, or nowadays we considered Google as the supreme authority because we are accessing Google for approaching Google because it is easily approachable. The approachability of the search engine which help us to consider it as the best or authoritative source. So we have to verify whether the information provided is accurate or not. That we have to verify. So generally, traditionally, we say authority as people or books, and nowadays we are more relied on e-resources, electronic resources. So they are considered also as authoritative knowledge because it provides some amount of information which required at times. Information received from people, books, a supreme being, etc. Its strength depend on the strength of these sources. So that's very important. So whether we approach an authority, whether the book we refer shall be a reference book, it should not be a guide material. Usually we are searching for guide books, not for reference material, because we need some more time or more analysis to find the truth from a book, especially a reference book. But we are more attracted towards a guidebook because we feel that everything is there. Of course, it is there for writing an examination, not for acquiring knowledge, not for processing any information. So the credibility of the source, whether it is a person, or whether it is a book or whether it is an e-resource. So that credibility of the source is highly significant in the case of authoritative knowledge, because it's a kind of passive knowledge. So it's a passive knowledge because we are simply receiving. From teachers, we are receiving information. It's a kind of authoritative knowledge. Teacher takes a class, we are just listening to that or taking some notes or copying the note given by the teacher. All these things are authoritative knowledge. Or we are referring some books, a book, not some books, one book, and if we have an assignment to do, we take one book, the easiest one, where we can see all the things which are directly explained, described, and we just copy down, or nowadays we are just copy paste even without reading what it is. So that is a kind of passive activity, or a passive type of knowledge is authoritative knowledge. So these are the 5 major types of knowledge according to philosophical classification. The highest one is revealed knowledge, then comes the intuitive knowledge, then rational knowledge, then empirical knowledge, and finally authoritative knowledge. So the type of knowledge determine which method shall be followed to attain that type of knowledge. So that's the importance of knowledge. That's the importance of epistemology. And epistemology deals with the type of knowledge and thereby the method of learning. Earlier we say that method of teaching. Nowadays we are not using that term teaching, but we are more using the term learning, because it is learning that actually happening. Even in teaching also, the aim of teaching to make students learn. So actually learning is occurring. So learning shall occur. So in such a way that epistemology deals with different types of knowledge, and it guide us to find out the appropriate method, appropriate way to attain that kind of knowledge. So that's the relation between epistemology and education. So the 3 major divisions, axiology, metaphysics, and epistemology, is over. Axiology give rise to values, which leads to aims of education. Metaphysics deals with reality, study of reality, and the reality determines the curriculum. And epistemology studies types of knowledge, sources of knowledge, and how knowledge can be acquired, and which decides the methods of learning and methods of teaching. Actually, if we are intended to use the term teaching, otherwise it is better epistemology, knowledge, and learning process or methods for learning. So thanks for watching the presentation. Thank you all.